can help when you get hurt, but what of the wounds you cannot see? Emotional abuse might not be visible, but being constantly wounded emotionally wears you out, leaving scars internally. Emotional abuse can have a traumatic impact on the nervous system. Research now includes the impact from emotional abuse as CPTSD, or complex post-traumatic stress disorder, a variation of PTSD that happens because of trauma that is ongoing and where you cannot leave the situation. Here's a list of signs that you've been emotionally abused to help with early identification of abusive relationships. Number 1, a kingdom of isolation. Whether it's from a partner or even parents, emotional abuse has the tendency to leave you feeling sapped. Researchers theorize the emotional abuse may contribute to the development of conditions such as chronic fatigue syndrome. Living each day walking on eggshells leaves you feeling drained. Emotionally abused people withdraw to feel safe. You begin to dread social interaction of any kind, as you have little strength to answer for any conversation you had or an action you took that the abuser did not approve of. It can take the form of isolation where you don't go out or speak to anybody. It may also be to try to avoid or become invisible to the abuser in hopes that the abuse will stop. Number 2, the reign of worthlessness. Emotional abuse can alter your perception. You can spend years thinking you're worthless. I'm not good enough. I don't matter. Emotional abuse leads its victims to play these thoughts on repeat. Researchers have demonstrated that emotional abuse is strongly associated with low self-esteem, more so than other forms of abuse. The insults and criticism gradually eat away at the victim's sense of self-worth. You begin to see yourself through the eyes of all those insinuations and even blame yourself for the abuse. Number 3, the fortress of avoidance. Growing up in a strictly controlling environment, you struggle with being vulnerable. You learn to use secretive behavior as an escape route to avoid conflict. A study shows these individuals adopt avoidant attachment style. You are taught to disregard uncomfortable feelings, and as a result, you're now quick to avoid such situations, even as an adult. You avoid connection whenever possible to minimize further hurt. It's difficult for you to open up to someone. Research shows this can take a toll on your relationships as you try to brush everything under the rug instead of addressing the issues. Number 4, the non-stop blame game. Is it normal for you to apologize to inanimate objects like a chair or a sofa after you accidentally bump into it? Do you blame yourself for things out of your control? Research has shown that an abuser often tries to shift all blame and guilt onto the victim, making you believe that the abuse is your fault. Add this to the supposed reinforcement of outside events, the victim comes to believe that they are the cause for everything, and so automatically apologizes for anything that goes wrong, even when there's no way to control or know about the situation at all. Number 5, a battle of frequent outbursts. It's a hard pill to swallow when someone close to us constantly blows hot and cold, serving as a tool for intimidation. According to research, this emotional push and pull can leave you feeling rejected, confused, and frustrated. You become extremely hypervigilant, being afraid to make even the smallest mistake. You overanalyze everything to try to minimize chances of conflict. The anxiety of keeping things in control leaves you feeling extremely wound up. And so you can break down even at the slightest hint of things going south. It can also be expressed as anger instead of sadness. All those suppressed emotions of violation developed throughout abuse come out when you feel like all your efforts went to waste. And number 6, conceal, don't feel. Does it seem like you're moving through the motions of life with little to no enjoyment? Or do you feel like you can't connect with people normally because you just don't feel like yourself? Every word that flies towards you registers as a dart on your emotions. The brain interprets emotional abuse as trauma and hence triggers mechanisms to help you cope. One such coping mechanism is emotional numbness. Studies show that people who were emotionally abused as children are more likely to experience emotional dysregulation, including emotional numbing as adults. Victims use this as an escape switch for the distressing situations faced in an emotionally abusive relationship. You learn to seal away your feelings in an attempt to protect yourself and detach from painful feelings related to the situation. It's scary to reach out for help, but it's one of the best ways to end the cycle of abuse and get your life back, and you're worth it. If you found this video helpful, be sure to share it with others who might need to hear it. For more related videos, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. Have you ever wondered why you hug other people? what does this display of affection mean exactly? Well, according to psychology, you hug others because you need to. You hug people to help alleviate distress, to feel less alone, to share your love and joy with others, and to let those around you know that they matter to you. Carol Miller once said, "Hugs are the truest form of giving and receiving." With that said, these are 6 of the most common types of hugs and what each of them mean. Number 1, the side hug. A side hug expresses friendliness, warmth, and kindness. A side hug is when you put an arm around another person's shoulders rather than wrapping both arms around them in a full contact hug. Also called the buddy hug. The side hug is often shared between casual friends and acquaintances in greeting. It is meant to convey friendliness that has not yet bloomed into intimacy. This is an appropriate display of affection for when you aren't very close to someone or are still getting to know them. By keeping the other person at arm's length, you are subconsciously keeping them at an emotional distance. However, choosing a side hug doesn't mean you feel cold and insincere towards them, but that you're being shy, friendly, and polite. Number 2, the flirty hug. What's a flirty hug, you ask? Well, it's when you have a full frontal body contact hug with both your arms around the other person. They might trace their hands up your back or down your arms. They may even start playing with your hair. Ooh la la. A flirty hug is meant to convey romantic attraction. It tells you that the other person likes you and has feelings for you, even if they can't verbally express it. This type of hug is affectionate, intimate, and sweet. It's a definite sign that the other person is attracted to you and wants to be more than just friends. Number 3, the long hug. Did you know that most hugs are brief, lasting only between 5 and 10 seconds? A long hug that lasts at least 20 seconds triggers the release of oxytocin, the love hormone, in your brain. When you get a long hug from a friend, family member, or loved one, it's more comforting, loving, and warm. Whether it's because you haven't seen them in a long while, or you're patching things up after a fight, or you just really miss them, a long hug conveys that you love them and want to be there for them. Number 4, the romantic hug. Similar to the flirty hug, the romantic hug also conveys feelings of attachment and romantic attraction, but is more so about love rather than desire or passion. While the flirty hug is shared between people you hope to pursue a relationship with, the romantic hug is often shared between couples who've been dating for a while and are more familiar and intimate with each other. A romantic hug is when both people pull each other close by the waist and look deep into each other's eyes, with arms wrapped tight around each other, and their foreheads are pressed together. This pose expresses intimacy, fondness, and familiarity. Number 5, the bear hug. If you've ever had a best friend or rowdy sibling, then you already know what a bear hug is. A bear hug is intended to be playful, lighthearted, and fun. When you're wrapped in a bear hug, it is a full frontal tight embrace that is enveloping and warm. This kind of hug means that you have someone in your life who loves being around you and feels like you're worth protecting. And number 6, the reverse hug. The reverse hug, or the spoon hug, is when someone wraps their arms around you from behind. You can share this hug with your romantic partner or a very close friend or your siblings. When someone gives you a reverse hug, it makes you feel safe, protected, and cared for. The reverse hug is a gentle but sweet affirmation of someone's feelings for you. Have you ever been on the receiving end of one of these special hugs? How did it make you feel? What do you think it meant? Tell us about it in the comments below. Please like and share this video if it helped you and you think it could help someone else too. And thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.